Well, we are live here at Carver-Hawkeye Arena. I'm Corey Bratta here from the Hawkeye of the Storm, joined by former Hawkeye assistant coach Gary Close, discussing a really disappointing result here at Carver. We will have feedback from Kyle Spence. He is down at the presser right now talking to Ben McCollum and the players, and I'll be intrigued to hear what Ben has to say, Gary, but I'm also intrigued to hear what you have to say. 78-57 the final. And it wasn't even really that close. I mean, this game was done in the first few minutes of the second half, and it felt like at halftime we were sitting here saying, "Boy, they're only down 11."
Right.
And they only shot, 28% in the first half. You're thinking they're fortunate to be only down 11, and then it ballooned. Just try to walk us through how this thing went haywire.
Yeah. Well, first, Purdue's good. And you can see that they see, what's coming down the road here in 2 or 3 weeks. We're getting into tournament play, and this is when you want to be playing your best basketball, and they're gearing up for that. And I thought defensively that might be as good as they've played all year. There were very few open shots in the first half for Iowa, and their size, I think, really bothered Iowa inside. They just could not finish around the basket, and Purdue covered them very well, and they got a phenomenal guard that only scores 5 points and controls the game with 12 assists or something. And so that's a veteran team that's played a lot of big games and knew how to jump out the lead, keep the lead, and not let anybody up. And I think what they got to do now is learn real quick and then move on, because you got Nebraska Wednesday and Wisconsin on the weekend, and those are 2 really good teams. So you can't dwell too long, because more is coming.
you and I were both here. This felt like the first game, and I haven't been here for a ton of games this season. However, this felt like the first we're back from the crowd. Packed house. They were here early. There were no empty seats. The students were involved. They're playing a big-time team. And certainly, there's always a chance when you play a really good team like Purdue that you could get toasted, and that's what happened. But, boy, it just felt like the balloon got deflated and, reminded me that this is going to be a process, this build back.
Right.
And it's amazing that we're talking about a team that's projected in easily, even after today. They're still going to be projected in with flying colors. A lot of season left, but this was a reminder that it's a build.
There's no doubt. And you see, look at a team like Purdue that's, been to the Final Four, come very close to winning a national championship and won Big Ten championships. And they're a veteran team. Those guys have played a lot of big time games, and to come in here with a packed house is not something they haven't done before. And it looked like it. It looked like, they're getting ready to play in a Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament. Every team goes through lulls during the year. I mean, Purdue had a stretch where they didn't play very well, and they're now, rounding into form. I think Iowa caught them at a bad time.
And so the question here is Iowa in a lull, or is this who they are? And I asked that question. I know they've only lost 2 in a row, but I asked you the question after the Maryland game. It's like, Gary, they were winning games at Oregon, against Washington, against Northwestern, but they weren't beating good teams, and they weren't they were struggling at times.
Right.
So my concern is this who they are, or is this a lull for the Hawks?
Well, it's there's some question there. I don't think they're playing the elite teams in the league now, and but you get into the NCAA tournament and you play against teams that don't know you as well as these teams. This is a well scouted.
This is a team that's played Iowa twice.
Yeah, and it's a veteran coaching staff, so there's nothing you're going to surprise them with. Whereas in the NCAA tournament, they're not going to be as well scouted in a short period of time. So I think they've got to, it's going to be interesting to see how they play in these next couple of games, because they've been, they lost a game they shouldn't have probably lost, and then they got themselves handed to here, and you got to find a way to regroup, and it wasn't a lack of effort. It was just a team that played much better than them at both ends of the court.
Trey Kaufman-Renn, I thought, was just a man in the first half. Yep. I mean, I think he had 10 or 11 rebounds in the first half, but he ended up for the game 12 and 12. He doesn't force anything, 5 of 8 from the field. You got a 5 of 10 showing from C.J. Cox, who ended up with 14. Really quiet day, as you mentioned, for Braden Smith. Just 5 shot attempts, made 3 free throws, ended up with 5 points total. But Jakari Harris comes out of nowhere. We keep talking about these unheralded guys against this Iowa defense, and they seem to figure it out in a second against him. But he's a guy who came into this game, I think, averaging maybe 5 points, 6 points, somewhere in there. And he had like 12 in the first half, 9 really quickly. Threes. And Lawyer also finished the game with 12. Yeah,
I think they're a classic team. They all know their roles, and they're all about winning. So they don't care. I mean, you talk about Smith with 5 points. He had 12 assists to 1 turnover. And so they're all about winning. And, Lawyer could score 20 on probably a lot of other teams. But those 2 guards that play when he's not in there are quick. And I thought their quickness bothered them in the first half. I don't think Bennett had very many open looks. He got a few in the second half, but they really did a good job on him in the first half. And I think their quickness and their size inside really caused Iowa some problems.
And so the question, even after the Maryland game, the narrative with Ben in the press conference here prior to this game was, who's going to help Bennett? Someone's got to step up. And as you said, Purdue completely takes Bennett away in the first, and Iowa had no answers offensively. Right. I know there were a lot of murmurs against Cale Combs. He's struggling right now mightily. Not that he's some offensive weapon, but boy, how many missed layups and point-blank shots around the rim that Iowa
that's
missed.
What size does to you. Just, get you shoot the ball a little quick, get you looking around and not looking at your target and finishing strong. You get a couple of those, and all of a sudden now you're a little – and it really went through the whole team.
Yeah.
I think if you look at their misses around the basket, they had a bunch to where they didn't draw many fouls. But we've been talking about that all year, their ability to finish and shot fake and take their time. And you get a couple blocks and then are changed, and all of a sudden you're you're looking back of your head, and that's just enough to miss shots around the basket. So I thought Purdue's size really, they're big. I mean, they're big and they're physical. I think it bothered them.
These stats are not going to make too many Hawkeye fans happy, but I'll read through some individual numbers for the Hawks. Bennett starts with 19 and 5 rebounds on 7 to 12 shooting. But again, a lot of those came in the second half. He was taken out of it in the first, and of course that helped build that Boilermaker double-digit lead at halftime.
They took him out in the first half and sat him down. I mean, that's what they were doing to him. I think Coach says, I got to get him over, get him under, get him. Hey, okay, let's go back in and
he did respond.
He was even rattled. He did.
Yeah.
But I thought even he was a little rattled, which you never see. So you got to give Purdue some credit for that.
And to his credit, he responded. To Iowa's, to Cam Magnow's credit, I thought he played tough and scrappy.
Yeah, he did.
He was probably their second best player.
Both him and Tavon, they were going after it. They were not effective as much as they'd like to be, but they were battling.
You got 8 out of Magnow. You got 9 out of Banks. And then Banks, a couple of times tonight, goes down with more ankle issues. I think it's the same ankle that he's been dealing with. That's probably not going to go anywhere, is it?
No, ankles they're persistent, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's rest, and then they don't have time to rest.
Right. Cale Combs, 0 of 5 from the field. Cooper Koch, 1 of 4 from the field. Brendan Hazen, 1 of 6. Urok, 1 of 4. Isaiah Howard, 1 of 2. Sage, 1 of 2. Banks, 3 of 8. We got some extended run. It was interesting that first half, and Iowa was keeping it close for quite a while, just with effort, defense. It seemed like they couldn't get a loose ball, but they were keeping it close. You got Urok and Hazen in there really early. What was the thought process there from McCollum?
I think he was looking for some kind of a spark offensively. They were really struggling to score. Like you said, I think defensively they were hanging in there. And then what happens is your offense still struggles, and then it permeates your defense. Then a couple of times they lose 3-point shooters, and bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden it goes from, a 6-point lead to double digits and ends up being 11 at half. And, that's what good teams do to you.
Yeah, and how about this stat? Iowa was -8 on the glass, but only turned the ball over 6 times. But Purdue, 20 assists, 5 turnovers. On the road in the Big Ten, packed atmosphere. That's impressive stuff.
Yeah.
And all starts with Braden Smith, of course.
Yeah, and it's a veteran team, literally through the lineup. I mean, they got a couple of young guys, but Smith's played forever. Lawyer's played forever. The big kid inside's played forever.
Yeah.
They got some veterans that, like we said, have played some big games in their career, and this is just another one. And like I said before, I think this is the time of the year. You're mid-February. The Big Ten tournament's 3 weeks away or so. Now's the time. We don't have a whole lot of time now. We got to start playing the way we want to play, because you get to the point where you lose, your season's over.
Right.
And what a better way to prepare for that than to come into a place like this and play well, which they did.
So, I mean, there's obviously a sense of urgency, right? You just said it. But we're in mid-February. There's still time to figure things out. But how much of this can be figured out? How much of it is personnel and lack of skill in year one? How much of it can be figured out?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, there's no question they're not real big inside. They lack a little bit of quickness on the perimeter, but they play in such a way that I think they can cause some teams some problems if they can shoot a little bit better. And like I said earlier, when you get into the NCAA tournament, you're not as well scouted as this team is now in the Big Ten, especially late in the Big Ten. Everybody knows everything about everybody.
Right.
And so I think you gotta be honest with them, saying, hey, this is a really good team that's playing in a really good league in terms of Purdue, and hey, it was their night. So we just gotta learn from it and then see if we can play a little bit better against Nebraska on Wednesday.
Heading into this game, would you have considered this to be a litmus test, simply because I think we both said after the Maryland game that was probably their worst performance of the season? So to come back at home with this atmosphere, I know it was against a hot Purdue team, to perform like this, was it a litmus test, and how concerning is that they didn't bounce back? Yeah,
I think it's more how good Purdue is and how well they played today versus I thought the effort was there. They couldn't knock a shot down to save their life.
Yep.
And I think they got frustrated, and then affects your whole entire game. And that's what happens when you play a really good veteran team.
Right.
So you got to learn from it, and then you got to move on. And it'll be interesting to see how they recover and react, playing another really good team in Nebraska.
Folks, if you have a comment or a question, you can certainly add a super chat in there. We got one from DC Hawkeye. He just says simply, give it some time. Things will get much better for Iowa basketball going forward. And that's a guy who was at the Maryland game. I remember he commented the other night.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I was reminding myself towards the end of this game of that very point that this is year one.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the concerns in moving on from the Fran McCaffrey era, Gary, is always, boy, could we take a big step back? Like Fran was getting them to the tournament every year. I know it was a 2-year lull where they're not in, but you're like, okay, if you fire him and hire someone else, you could end up being the next Northwestern, Penn State, Rutgers. Ben's not done that. I mean, he's made this team relevant.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden expectations change with your fan base, and you're like, okay, we're not just going to make the tournament. We're going to be a 6 or a 5 or a 4 seed.
Right.
And now we're all let down. So I think almost maybe a reality check for this fan base that this is year one. They're still in really good position. But if you had reflected on this a year ago and said, hey, you're going to have a different coach, a different system, but you're still going to be projected in with flying colors in mid-February, we'd all taken it.
Oh, in a heartbeat. Yeah, there's no doubt. And then you gotta recognize who you're playing.
Right.
And that's a really well-coached, experienced, talented team that played well. And sometimes you got to give the other team credit. They played well.
They did play really well.
They played well at both ends of the court.
Yeah.
Iowa could have played a lot better and still not won that game. And that's how well they played.
Fans were really into the officials early. I get it, but does that sometimes wear on players early? Could that have gotten maybe?
I don't know if it wore on the players. I think it's fans that are frustrated that that it's not going the way they want it to go.
Yeah.
When you play Purdue, it's going to be a physical game, but I thought they did a decent job of keeping everything under control.
There were some possessions where that ball was popping for Iowa, and then there were others where, especially as the game wore on, it felt like Iowa would be in a position, they'd drive the ball, and then Jacobson or Clough would come over and make the second pass, but then they moved there, and it's just like there didn't seem to be a finality to anything Iowa was trying to do on offense.
No, and that's
to
Purdue's credit. I mean,
yeah.
It's one thing to play good defense for 15 or 20 seconds. It's another one to play it for the entire shot clock.
Right.
There was a couple times where it came down to, where they just had to hoist one because they had nothing. And I think that's the Purdue score.
And when Purdue had to hoist one, Oscar Clough shot a 3, made it, ended up being waved off because of a shot clock violation. But before we get to Doug, who's one of our callers here on StreamYard, big thank you to Big Grove Brewery. It's funny, a buddy of mine that was at the game, he had a couple of Easy Eddies, and then I saw a couple of guys walking up with Big Grove Brewery ball caps on. So check out the swag and all the locations at biggrove.com. They're in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Des Moines, Solon, now Omaha. And kick back with an Easy Eddie and some food and make it your official craft brewery as well. Our Big Grove's big play of the game. This was a hard one when you lose by 21. Yeah. But Tavion did have a nice one-handed dunk, but they were down 20. That's the problem. Yeah. He threw that one down, but there wasn't a whole lot. I'll tell you what, there was a really nice group of Purdue fans, and they travel well. And it's a really solid program, but they had quite a few plays of the game.
Yeah, they did.
It would have been pick the poison there.
Yeah.
Oscar Clough picked off a pass and nearly stuffed it. Thanks to Bennett Sturts for catching up to him and preventing that. There was a tomahawk poster down on this end of the floor in the first half that silenced the crowd. So
Purdue was sharp. There's no question.
They sure were. And our player of the game was Bennett Sturts. I don't know where else you'd possibly go. 19 points, 7 to 12 from the field. 5 rebounds. And as I mentioned, we've got Doug here. But before we add Doug in, one more thank you to our sponsors, being Brad Van Meter and his State Farm team over in Des Moines. Make sure you're insured and have great coverage and a great team taking care of you and your needs. Give them a call at 515-256-6480, 515-256-6480, or visit Brad online, bradvanmeter.com. All right, let's head over to Doug, who is here early. Doug,
not a happy day to be a Hawkeye. Getting into on the discourse, some people in the live chat, we're upset right now, Corey. We're upset.
You weren't even here. You should have heard the fans around I mean, I don't know about the fans around
My
you,
hair's
Gary,
all
but
messed up.
the people around me, man, it was rough. I mean, it's when you're down 27 or whatever they were at one point in the second half at home, and all these fans. There was so much hype for a Saturday afternoon game. It was on Fox. It was on Fox, Doug.
I don't want to say it. Just feels it was just so disappointing. It feels like a gut punch because you have so much hope going into this game, and you add the Maryland game to it. It just this seemed like the game that was the first big win, the Ben McCollum coming out party, and they just laid an egg, and this is our first sellout. This is and hey, I'm with a lot of people. I'm just disappointed today. I still trust we'll make the tournament. We're complaining about that. I'm not.
Well, they'd have to.
That.
The thing about it, Gary mentioned this before we hit the live button. They have murderers row here.
Yes.
So here's the blessing and the curse of that. They may rack up more losses, but it's not going to really hurt their resume all that much.
Yeah.
I mean, this loss today is a quad 1 loss, even at home. They lose.
Champion.
Yeah, exactly. And if they lose to Michigan, it's a quad 1 loss. If they lose to now, those are also quad 1 opportunities to win.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, they get Nebraska twice. They get Michigan, and then
Wisconsin.
They get Wisconsin, and that's up there. That's up there.
And they just annihilated Michigan State.
Yeah.
I mean, annihilated.
Yeah. So no, you're right, Doug. There's reason for concern, but I'm with you. I think as of right now, they're safely in the tournament. It would have to really be collapse, I think, from here on out.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Big Ten is so well thought of. They're going to get a ton of teams in.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. The top 6 of the Big Ten are all top 20 teams, and so we're a middle of the Big Ten team. And like people are going, this is a Drake team. This team was in the Missouri Valley. They'd be 18-0. They're we're 16-2. This team would be the best team in the Valley, but the best team in the Valley wouldn't be the ninth place.
But they're not playing in the Valley, Doug.
Yeah, exactly.
and by the way, they just not to debunk your comment. McCollum brought the best players from the best team in the Valley, added the best player from what conference is Robert Morrison? I don't even
Horizon.
know. The Horizon, thank you. Along with Cooper Koch. And so, yeah, those types of comments are just fall on deaf ears for me, but I get your point.
Well, it's just people talking about mediocrity and stuff. They are 9th in his first year, 9th, 10th, 8th. I don't know where they'll finish. They're on the bubble at minimum in his first year. And the NCAA tournament, I think they'll get better. I think if they don't have to rely on Banks, search so much, and Banks would step up. That was my question for Coach. And when you already talked about it, why are they so soft? Why can't they make a layup? Why can't they go through somebody? Why are they pivoting and then throwing up an air ball down low?
Yeah, I think the size really bothered them. I don't know if it was softness as much as just technique and really good play by Purdue. They're big. I mean, if you came and watched the game, it's so much different on TV. They were a lot bigger than Iowa. I mean, their size, I think. And one kid, I don't know how big he must be 7.
Jacobson, yeah.
3 or 7.
Well, they always have somebody who's just a giant.
Man, he's long. I mean, his arms go forever. And as we mentioned earlier, you get a couple of them blocked or you miss a couple, and then it's like that skater, the Olympics. He misses his first jump, and all of a sudden, my goodness, he finishes 8th. It plays with you.
But teams aren't going to get smaller on us. If anything, Michigan's just as big. How do we teach those guys to finish at the rim or get low post score?
Yeah, they got to slow down. They got to get angles. They got to get when they lead their feet. They got to lead their feet with authority, and they got to try to get the defense to leave their feet. But it's or kick it out. Don't just get it blocked. Kick it out, and maybe somebody can knock down 3. You don't have to shoot it when you get in there, but I think they were so in need of a basket that they almost forced it at times. And we've said all year long, they lack a consistent inside scorer that can stop runs and get to the free throw line. And that's probably not going to change, between now and the end of the year.
Next question, because I want to move on from this game, and I will focus a little bit on Nebraska right now. What do you think it will be like? Because I'm on end because probably people don't want to hear more about my stupid take. But what will What will it be like for Price, you think, and how do you think he'll handle it? Both of you can answer that coming in here. Is he – I mean, I'm just hoping that we can get Nebraska. That Mask kid's pretty good. Sam is what Hoiberg is impressive, actually. A lot of people –
Who would have thought we'd say that, a couple of years ago?
He's a little like bulldog and just goes in there. I mean, he's tenacious, and I'm fearful for if they put Ben's going to struggle with him. I think. And now I'm being a negative Debbie, but
he's going to struggle with who? Hoiberg.
Hoiberg's on Bennett. I think Hoiberg will be on Bennett. I'd imagine. I think that's going to be a hard matchup. I mean, I hope not. I hope he gets his 30 points. Again, I'm being
size. He's got size.
Some size, yeah.
But
how do you look at the matchup, and what do you think Pierce will feel or do? Is that how have you dealt with people going into their old arenas, Coach?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think it can go both ways real easy. He's obviously going to be fired up and maybe he gets off to a hot start, plays a great game, or he's over fired up and really struggles. So that'll be an interesting thing to see as he comes back for the first time.
What did you think of Trevin Urach when he got in there early? I thought he gave him a nice spark.
The big kid?
Yeah,
he did. He was a leading scorer there after about 2 minutes. But I think he's a project.
He is a project. Yeah. I made the comment, and this, I know that I didn't want to say it because I saw his parents were just down here a minute ago, but he is so slow.
Yeah, a little heavy-legged.
And I guess, yes. And I have said since day one, great skill set. I know Ben believes in him. Great skill set. But I wonder how much quicker can he get? How much quicker can a big get?
Maybe a little bit, but it's not going to change.
So is he a Big Ten center?
He's got to get, he's got to get really efficient in what he does, and
I just worry about him defensively.
I think that's legit.
Yeah.
But it can happen.
They needed offense, and he's skilled inside. He's got some skill in there, and good
Made a three,
feet.
And made a couple free throws. No, he
gave
him a little bit of a spark.
One of the comments that was made by Kyle before he ran down to the press room, he talked about the size, which you've mentioned ad nauseum, of course, but there were also some times where Iowa just felt like they got caught napping. Inbounds plays.
I'll bet you inbounds plays was 12-0.
So here's my question, because Ben is a defensive Mongol, and they had great, actually, if you look at their KenPom numbers right now, they're still top 40, top 35 in defensive efficiency for the season. This was a stat that was floating around on social media earlier today. Bart Torvik, well-known analytics guy for college basketball, in the past month, heading into this game, Iowa was like 165th in the country over the past month in defensive efficiency. That is startling. That's a startling number. Now, I think
it's threes, and I think it's dribble penetration. I think we've been talking about that, and I think it's competition. I think they're playing the cream of the crop here, and it's exposing them a little bit.
We talked about it under Fran's headship, as it just gets real quiet in here now. We were complaining about the noise earlier. It got real quiet.
We better be careful what we're saying here.
But we always talked about what it takes to be a really good defensive team, and it doesn't always take great athleticism or great skill, right? But it takes really good coaching, really good effort. So this team can be better than 165th in the Big Ten.
They've shown that, yeah. I thought at times they got caught ball watching and just they weren't quite as sharp, and left people open, and their out of bounds defense was as bad as I've seen it. I mean, I think Purdue they might have gotten 10 points off out of bounds plays, a few layups, and they come hard off a screen, and you got to be in tune there, because if you slip up there, it's such point blank that it's over. You can't really recover. So a lot of film to watch, and then keep improving and move on.
What do you do with Cale Combs right now? Because he seems to just be and guys go through slumps. I get it, but man, he struggled tonight, and he's been struggling.
Yeah.
How do you address him as a guard?
Yeah, that's a tough call, because there's not a whole lot of other options.
Right.
I think you just do what you can do, and keep working hard, and hopefully something's going to turn. This is, you're playing in one of the best leagues, maybe the best league in the country, and you're going to have nights where you can't believe you can play in this league. You just got to find a way, fight through it.
I'm going to throw you a curveball. What would Jess Settles do if he was right here? What would he say?
About what?
About anything. Well, he'd be making fun of you, I'm sure.
He would be making fun of me. And,
what would he say? What do you think he would identify as? You think he'd say the same things you do? He's a former big, right? He'd give them toughness and physicality.
I think the ability to finish around the basket has been a concern, and especially gets exposed when you play better and better teams
and bigger teams
and
like Purdue, and it doesn't traditionally under Matt Painter in that era. There's not really any. You coached in that area. There really aren't other teams that are known for that amount of size.
Yeah,
right.
They're big and they're physical. It's not just big; they're strong. I mean, they got some size to them. Even their guards are big.
So it feels like Combs is going through it. Howard's kind of going through it a little bit. Cooper was playing really well, and now he's kind of going through it.
No doubt.
And then you got Tavion, he's sort of emerged as the second option to Bennett, but then he's dealing with this ankle thing. I think Cam's just limited offensively.
He's limited.
I just think he is what he is. He's going to give him – he's been maybe their most consistent player just from start to finish. He doesn't really go anywhere. So is there someone you can identify? Is it Alvaro? We keep talking about him. He's had moments in games.
Yeah,
Who's got to emerge here?
Well, that's a hard pinpoint. Somebody has to, though. I mean, there's options there, and I think that's what happened tonight. I mean, he was putting people in and out all the time, trying to find somebody that could give him a spark. I think they subbed more today than they may have subbed all year in terms of quickness. I mean, people are coming in and out of that game all the time. You're just trying to find a hot match, and they just couldn't do it. I think that's Purdue's credit. So I think you've got to understand what you've done, where you've been. It's not as bad as you think it is. It probably wasn't as good as you thought it was. And now you've got to, hey, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You got to get ready. You got them at your court. See if we can get off to a little better start and, hopefully play a little better.
So they're 8-6 now. As we mentioned, they get Nebraska Tuesday. I don't know what the ticket situation for Nebraska is, but I would hope that it could be
an 8:00 game. That won't help, but I'm sure
it won't. But I would think at a minimum, the Nebraska fans would fill this place out. If the tickets aren't,
there might be a few Nebraska people coming over. Yeah,
just a few, and some of them with the last name Sanford.
That's a good point too.
So Nebraska, and then you get Wisconsin on the road the following Sunday afternoon. So that'll be packed up there at the Kohl Center, and then you get Ohio State, another good team. But at home, that's a game you probably got to win.
That's a game, yeah.
And then they get Penn State on the road, must win.
That's a game they can win.
And then there are 2 games in March, Michigan at home, Nebraska and Lincoln.
Whoa, man.
So
they didn't get any favors with the schedule. So they have Nebraska twice.
Well, they just won 6 in a row because they did play Maryland twice. They got Northwest. So you're right. They get Purdue twice, they get Nebraska twice, and they got Maryland twice. So
they got 2 real good
tough
teams
ones,
and 1 bad one. Yeah.
And unfortunately, they did not sweep the bad one. They dropped one there.
Yeah.
So 6 and 8. I mean, if you can get to 500 in that stretch, right? Where do you find the 2? Probably Ohio State and Penn State. I mean, that's what's crazy. We're sitting here talking about they may struggle to get to 500, even though they were 8-4 here a couple of days ago. It feels like.
Well, I think they'll get. I think they'll get there. I think they'll beat Maryland here, and if they play well, they'll beat Penn State. They have to play well, but they lost to Maryland. And Maryland, they're both probably similar teams.
Yeah, Penn State can beat you.
Yeah,
Iowa's gone out there and lost before.
Well, Penn State almost beat. Was it Michigan?
Yeah, Northwestern's
by 2.
Northwestern's been playing. They played Nebraska tough for the first half tonight, and they played Michigan tough the other night.
They just run out of gas.
Yeah.
And they're young. They're young and inexperienced.
All right, we got Kyle Spence who's going to be hopping in for Gary. Before you get up and make your way back to the great state of Wisconsin, I want to get this on camera. Did we get a explanation on defense from Ben?
We sure did. You want it now, or do you want
to just
move right in here?
I want to hear
waiting
this.
for you.
So we
have the fans.
We reviewed the stats.
Here,
there you go. Gary's going to move over a chair.
There we go.
Just for a minute. We're going to do this all live on the air. While we're making this change, why don't we just go ahead and why don't we plug Brad one more time, because we're going to do that anyways. Brad Van Meter and his State Farm team down in Des Moines. Be sure you call Brad for a quote on insurance. 515-256-6480, 515-256-6480, or online at bradvanmeter.com. Brad Van Meter and his team of Hawkeyes down there at State Farm on Fleur Drive in Des Moines. All right, So we got that's not Gary, that's Kyle. But we talked about the stat.
Yep.
Prior to the press conference heading into and that was floated around social media. We did confirm that was true, thanks to our guy Tony.
Yep.
Bart Torvik over the past month has Iowa outside the top 160 in defensive efficiency for the past month heading into today's game. I wouldn't think today's game helped them.
No.
Did you get a chance to talk to Ben about this?
I did. Yeah, I asked him about it. It caught him a little bit by surprise, and he mostly attributed it to he said he thinks that the defense by the guards has been softer in the last month, specifically getting straight line drove at the basket. He doesn't like the way they're defensive rebounding right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. He said he'd have to go back and look at it. Most of it was the guards. He kind of went on ball defense by the guards, and then defensive rebounding was a big key. The other thing he said, because again, he said you'd have to go look back at the film to give me a more educated answer, but he said that it's kind of a first time for him as a coach. He said they go through the metrics fairly often, and it's the first time for him as a coach that throughout a season, the offense is actually getting better and better, but the defense is getting worse and worse. He said on basically every team he's ever coached, it's been the reverse, where as you get into better and better conference play where teams know you better and better, it's harder to get shots off. It's harder to get good looks on offense, but it's tougher defensively. So
could that almost be a good thing, Gary? Like almost like
maybe, yeah.
We can figure this out on defense.
Numbers didn't help today.
Not today. No, not today. You're right.
But, yeah, that is interesting, and I can see what he's saying from that sounds logical. As you get later in the season, people know you better. And the offensive things come harder and harder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we talked about. When you get in the NCAA tournament, then it's totally different because they got 3 days to prepare for you or 4 days, whatever. And they're not going to be as well prepared as the Big Ten.
Well, man, because I wanted to ask you this question, and we haven't been able to talk about the NCAA tournament for the last couple of years. In the tournament, I'm assuming you have an assistant coach scouting everybody in your quadrant, right? So the preparation doesn't actually start after you beat somebody in the first round. There's preparation.
Well, what we did is we would break the teams up in our first round
between assistant coaches.
So one coach would have the first game, and then the other two coaches would have
potentially
one or the other, so that you're ready to roll.
Right. And now you have all these coaches that
I know, my gosh.
I can see guys you have on the staff, right?
You scout every coach in the tournament.
I'm going to put my application out. I think I can get a job. No matter retirement.
Gary, thank you for being here.
You bet. It was fun.
We'll do it again.
It's always fun to come to Carver. I wish it'd been a little better performance, but it's fun to see friends.
And you got a packed house tonight for the first time in a while.
It was
for 2/3.
Two-thirds. It felt like the old time.
Yeah. And it'll be back. It'll be back. This is a sad moment. They got to figure this out, but they are 8-6 in the league.
I'd be surprised if it's not packed for Nebraska.
I think it'll be close.
I think it'll be close to full.
I had somebody in our Discord chat make the comment, and I won't call him out by name, but he said this is on the verge of becoming maybe it was on Twitter. We all know what Twitter is, right? But somebody made the comment that this is becoming a letdown season fast, and I'm like, whoa! They're 8-6 in the conference.
They just came off 6 straight wins.
One. They're in year one.
When you start winning,
that's exactly right. Expectations change.
The roof, and then wait a second. We've got Purdue. We got Nebraska. We got Michigan. We got Nebraska.
And like we said, they could limp their way to the end of the regular season. Literally limp their way, and maybe get in at 9-11. Mm-hmm. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Hopefully, at least 10-10, because 9-11, I think you're sweating on Selection Sunday. But 9-11 is possible, Gary, with that schedule we just laid out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their ratings are just going to keep going up because they're playing so many good teams. But
true, yeah,
I like to get to 10-10. I feel a little more comfortable with 10.
I would feel very comfortable with 10-10. Probably get it, and I made the comment during the game as well. The only good thing about losing to some teams towards the end, you want to be going in with momentum, but I don't want to be on that 8-9 line. So if you can we fall to the 10 or 11 and safely get in? Because I could see this team beating let's see, who would they play in the first round? They'd play if they were a 9, they'd play a 6, right? I can't think.
Yeah, 9
or no? Who would they play?
No, 9 would.
Here, I'm sorry. I meant I'm thinking about 11. If they play, if they're an 11,
they need to get to
11. 6 and a 3,
and then they play a 3.
Right?
Yes,
you could beat both. Yeah, I know we don't. Want that,
the ones in the 2 seeds are nasty this year.
It'll be a 12. 12s always beat the 5s.
That's there you go. They're going to get some shots at some 1 and 2 seeds over the next couple of weeks.
They are.
Oh yeah.
I think Michigan, Nebraska, Wisconsin have a shot. Wisconsin's got some work to do, but Michigan, Wisconsin, or Nebraska.
You look at Wisconsin. Last week they lose to Indiana at the buzzer, and everybody's all down. And then they proceed to beat 2 teams in the top 10. Everybody's going, "Oh man, we're going to Final Four."
Yeah,
I mean, it changes that quick.
Yeah.
And no, you still got some games ahead of you. You got to, it sounds cliche, but you got to just do it one at a time, whether you win or lose. You can't get too high. You can't get too low.
Right.
Yeah.
You just got to march on.
It's not. This is not football. It's a different game. Teams look radically different from night to night. It's one of the things that Painter said. Painter was a great listener as well. All the coaches in this league are great listeners, but Painter said he pointed out Iowa kicked Indiana's tail on the road, and then we got our tails kicked in by Indiana. Good you point. Look at those 2 results, and then what happened tonight, it really makes no sense. And
if you don't play well, you're going to get beat.
Yeah, you said you can't afford not to show up on any particular night.
And Iowa
Wisconsin lost to Nebraska by 30.
Yeah.
30. Yeah. And they beat Michigan at Michigan.
Yeah. Minnesota beat.
Crazy.
Minnesota beat Michigan State.
Michigan State, and Minnesota almost beat Wisconsin up there.
You can't do
twice. They almost beat Wisconsin.
That's just not something you see with football. It's a completely different game.
Yeah. I win when they play Tuesday.
Play Tuesday night.
I win Tuesday, and
everybody will forget about this. Nobody will care.
The only problem is then they got to go to Madison the next Sunday. But we'll worry about that bridge when we have it. So.
Yep.
All right, Gary.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right,
good talk soon.
You bet.
All right.
Yep. Good stuff, Gary.
Yep.
All right, Kyle. Let's wrap this thing up here. Any further comments from Ben? You talked about the defense, the ratings. It sounds like he was surprised by those numbers.
Let me grab my jacket.
Oh yes, sorry.
Sitting on Gary's jacket.
Yes.
Anything else that popped out to you from
out of my bifocals
from Ben's availability?
Nothing. Nothing really radical. He said couple things I think that were interesting. He said that he doesn't like the excuse of we just didn't make shots today. He doesn't like to do that because he thinks it takes kind of absolve some of the blame from other stuff that went wrong in the game. He said he personally has not had this happen in a long time, if ever really in his coaching career, where he got his tail kicked by 21 points like this. This is not something he's used to. A lot of the Drake guys have not done a lot of losing, and he's not particularly worried about how they handle it, but just an interesting kind of thing. You just don't get many coaches in the Big Ten that go to a press conference after losing by 20 and say, I really haven't had this happen before. That's not.
That's what I was thinking during the game as I'm watching him squatting down there. He looked kind of just dejected, and understandably so. He's not throwing the towel in by any means,
but I don't know that he's. That could be one of the worst losses of his career. He's got a 90% win.
I almost kind of thought during the game, I thought this is a little late for this, but it's almost like you're welcome to the Big Ten moment. I know they lost big at Michigan State early in the year, but this one felt different.
Yes, it did,
especially when you're at home.
Yeah,
to a team that Iowa had competed well against in West Lafayette earlier this season.
Yeah.
So, this is a litmus test, how they respond, not just to Maryland now, but to a lopsided affair at home against Purdue.
Yeah.
As disappointing as the fans, all being here and then leaving early and, kind of going away with a sour taste in their mouth this is year one, and this won't be the last time this place is packed.
No, it won't be.
So,
and Ben addressed that too. He was like, hey guys, and this was his kind of frank, honest moment. There's kind of Ben's a very honest, direct guy, very, very frank communicator. And he said, kind of just putting it out there, we've had a lot on our plates this year. All the guys have had a lot on their plates this year. They had 2 guys on the roster, 1 guy on the roster when he came in. They're trying to turn the team around, turn the program around that had struggled for a couple of years in an era of NIL when they don't really have fan attendance. He kind of pointed out there's a number of hurdles that were in the way heading into this year, and they're kind of trying to tackle everything they can at once as best as they can, and that's hard to do in arguably the most, if not inarguably the most elite league in the country, and lots of other interesting stuff. Ben actually said he thought that this was his best scout of the year. He said that nothing that happened tonight surprised him. He was less surprised by some of the things that happened in this game than he was really in any other game this year. But they just,
what I would have said back to him on that?
What's that?
If it was the right time, this is the second team that you've played twice.
Yeah.
So it should be a good scout.
That's
You've
true.
played him before.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point.
Maryland was probably a good scout, and tonight was probably a good scout, but they didn't show up in either game.
Yes. Painter as well was pretty direct, and not in a disrespectful way. I really appreciated it, but he kind of just said, like, we didn't think that they had the physicality to deal with us tonight. He thought that a couple of their guys down low just were not a good matchup for Iowa, and really felt like it was on him to tell those guys to assert themselves. And if they did that there was really nothing Iowa could do. I mean, he talked about a few guys in particular. Trey Kaufman-Wren was the one that he really highlighted, had 12 rebounds tonight, and I think maybe 8 or 9 in the first half that came out and really set the tone. But he kind of said, like, hey, if we play him at the 4 and he's physical against Iowa, he's as big as Cam Manyow. I mean, he's as big and physical as Iowa center. So if we put him out there and he's really physical with the guys down low, he just didn't feel like that was something Iowa could match. Another thing he said was that was interesting was he felt like they really overplayed Bennett Sturts the last time out. He said, I think it was Cale Combs. I have the trio that he listed out before, but Banks, Combs, and Sage that had all hit career highs in threes in the previous Purdue game. And they really emphasized to the guys, like, whoever's in Bennett Sturts' face, get your hands up, make sure he can't see the basket. But we're not gonna sell out to stop him, because if we sell out to stop him, what happened in the previous game was 3 other guys got off, and that kept Iowa in the game. So they did not want to do that. It was a big emphasis tonight. Let Bennett have his, and even in now that I say that out loud, Bennett really didn't have his in the first half.
No, he was shut down in the first half.
He was shut down in the first half. So if you manage to keep Bennett even somewhat quiet while not throwing 2 or 3 guys at him, I mean, at that point, the game's basically over. So, yeah, I mean, it hurts. It's a tough one for him. I'd be curious to hear, I haven't listened to the first half of the show, Corey, but I mean, is there anything they can do from a lineup perspective? I mean, I was sitting there watching the game. I was like, I don't know what other options they have right now. I mean, we talked about this during the game. I mean, where do they go from here? Is there an answer that you see?
Yeah, you'll have to listen to Gary's take on that, because I don't have the answer.
Okay.
I mean, I one guy that I keep coming back to is I just think Alvaro has to play better.
Yeah,
and we've been saying that since day one. He'll have moments and it looks like, okay, he's coming on, and then he struggles. And this team struggled with size today. Purdue is the epitome of size in this league. So that's not going to be an every night thing, but they're going to struggle when they play size. What's ironic about it is they dealt with Purdue size really well there.
Yeah,
we keep saying that. When Michigan has size, they get them. Nebraska doesn't quite have – they don't have that. I think they can hang with Nebraska because they're not going to be this really small team against the Huskers.
They just can't give up open threes like they did tonight. That was the toughest. I think that was the most disconcerting part of the entire game for me, was because I didn't think they were that bad in the first half defensively. I mean, obviously Purdue was making shots, but like Ben rightly pointed out in the press conference, when you shoot threes and they're not close and you miss layups, you've got long rebounds from the threes, you've got opportunities to grab the ball off the rim and push in transition. Those are essentially turnovers. Those are, I mean, he calls them like shot turnovers. Yeah. And they gave up a lot of those. They got Purdue in transition. Purdue had a couple of open threes from that. They had a couple of layups in transition and one that poster dunk that was my play of the game. It's just being able to sit here and see that. But in the second half, they really didn't do as much of that. They actually did shoot the ball better. I had the box score over there, but I think they shot close to 50% in the second half. Now, granted, a lot of that was kind of when the game was out of control, but they were not connected to shooters in that second half. A couple of really bad defensive plays on the inbounds from the baseline, the open corner threes. I mean, Cox had 3 threes.
They gave him 12 threes. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, but Cox had 3 threes in like a 3-minute span, and then you see him wide open in the right corner off an inbounds on the baseline, and he's got nobody within 5 feet of him. I mean, I can't remember who was on him. Was it Isaiah Howard?
Sage
was on him.
Sage,
I mean, he was just napping. He was just asleep out of a timeout. I mean, that's just unacceptable. That was the part that was really disconcerting for me, was not that they necessarily gave up, but they just were not focused in the second half. They were not locked in the way that we're accustomed to seeing.
All right, let's get to our last caller. It looks like we've got one on our phone line, which we're doing this the old-fashioned way. So, thank you for calling Iowa Postgame here with Gary Close. Who's on the line?
Hey, Corey and Kyle, it's Taylor.
Hey, Taylor, how are you?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
I mean, we're hanging in there. Yeah. Carver's
as good as we could be.
Carver's about cleared out now, so.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, definitely disappointing game today. 2-game skid here. Wish I would have beaten Maryland last week or on Wednesday. That was killer. I kind of expected this one, but I didn't expect to get blown out like we did. But looking forward, you gotta beat Nebraska. I mean, it's kind of a game you gotta win now because I think 11-9, you're right there. You go 10-10, I think you got to win one of the Big Ten tournaments due to the fact you lost to Maryland.
I don't believe that.
Don't believe it?
I believe they're in at 10-10. I don't even think it matters. I don't even think it matters what 10-10 looks like.
Is that because of the metrics that they have right now? Or okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm no bracketologist, but I just don't foresee, and maybe I'm wrong, Taylor. I don't foresee this team slipping that much. You know, they've been projected as an 8 or a 9 in recent days. I don't foresee losing to Michigan, Nebraska twice, Purdue, Ohio State. Well, actually,
Wisconsin.
I would be assuming at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
If they win at Penn State and then home against Ohio State, they're 10-10. I think they're in, and that means dropping both Nebraska games. They dropped the one tonight, dropping at Ohio.
As long as they don't lose by 25 again to Michigan or somebody. To
even
kill
then,
them.
man, I could be wrong.
The metrics will go down quick
wrong.
if one of the two Nebraska, like if they go to Nebraska and they lose by 20 and then they lose to Michigan by 20, they'll be outside the top 30 in Ken Palm at that point. That would start to slip. But I think I agree. They're very high up in the metrics right now, and that's going to break any ties with resume.
One call out, they only dropped one spot in Ken Palm tonight, so
yeah.
It was they're only 1.5 point underdogs, I think, to Purdue. So I was surprised we only dropped one spot. So
interesting.
I think the metrics are there. I just hope they treat us fairly, you know.
Yeah, I think my guess is, here's my guess: if they go 9-11, and their only win in that stretch is Penn State, I think then I would say they need to win a game in the Big Ten tournament. That's just my prediction. But I think
at that point, their first
in.
round game in the Big Ten tournament won't even be a big game because they'll be so far down in the standings that it'll be
true.
They'll have one bye, right? Probably.
So maybe it doesn't make a difference.
I don't know that it would make a
difference.
Win,
neutral,
quad two, probably.
Depending on who it is, right?
Yeah.
Is it a quad 2 game?
Probably.
Yeah.
Top 50 for quad 1. So yeah.
Yeah. I think they could dispel a lot of those fears, Taylor, by just winning on Tuesday against Nebraska. If you get 9 wins before Penn State and Ohio State,
at that point,
you're feeling a lot better. Especially, 9 includes a win at home against Nebraska.
I'm more surprised at anything that they're only 38th in defense. I thought they'd be a little bit lower than that after hearing that. I hadn't checked in a week or two, but if they keep playing defense like this, they'll start to fall quite a bit. That wouldn't be good.
Yeah, I think they'll bounce back. I said preseason, I think 11-9 is what they're going to get. I think they're on track for 11-9, and I'll leave it there. Well, hopefully we can bounce back on. Is that Wednesday night again?
Tuesday night, 8 p.m. late tip.
All right. Well, hopefully they can bounce back on Tuesday night, and we're all talking about a win.
All right, sir.
Absolutely.
Good to hear from you as always.
Have a safe trip home, Corey. And
thanks, Taylor.
Everyone go Hawks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have a safe trip home too. You just drive them across town. But.
Yes, I do think they'll. I don't know that they'll necessarily win against Nebraska, but I think there's some motivation there to.
I have a hard time seeing them dropping every one of those games we just talked about.
Yeah, before this. I mean, granted, this is now over, but I thought they would go. I thought they'd pick up at least one of Purdue, Nebraska, and Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know that they lose to Nebraska.
But I think from Ben's perspective too, and maybe this is not how he works. Maybe he's such a, there's certain people are motivated by circumstance more than others. But like Price was a kid that Ben tried to recruit fairly hard, and he chose a rival. And not only has he chosen a rival, but now there's a possibility that he's going to come into Carver and break the 3-point single season record for Nebraska. I think he's like 2 or 3 away, right? So I don't think Ben wants that. And I think there's some guys on the roster that probably had contact with Price in that recruitment process that probably begged him to come to Iowa to be a part of something.
You like the shirt I got.
I do not like that shirt.
We'll talk about that another time.
Burn it before Tuesday. But I think there's some guys on the roster that if they have a little bit of competitive fight in them right now, which I think they do. To me, that's a game as a player that I would have circled on my calendar. So I think if anything, they will come out with a lot of effort and a lot of energy. I hope the crowd shows up. If the crowd shows up like this, really in that game, you could see Price going for 0 or 30, couldn't you? You could see him coming out and getting rattled by the boos and stuff, but or you could see him.
I don't think he's going for 30 in here. I don't think he's
so.
going for 30
I think it's a possibility though. I've seen it before. I'm not saying that situation specifically, but
he's got. I think
he's got 20 to 25 in him.
He's not the type of guy though that Iowa has allowed to go off. He's not the type of guy. He's not a straight line drive guy. He's going to be high in the scouting report.
He will be.
I think they'll contain him.
If they disconnect from him on the 3-point line early though, and he sees a couple go in, I think it could be tough. But I could also see the reverse. I could see, him being a big scout and them smothering him a little bit. It could go either way. But that's it. I don't think they'll lose by 15 or 20. I think it'll be a couple possession game at worst going into the last couple of minutes, and then we will see what we will see. That's what basketball is all about.
All right, final caller of the night. Let's go to our phone line. Who's on the line?
Hey, Tony. How you doing?
Hey, Tony.
Tony.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's a game. It sucks, but what can you do?
Not a whole lot.
We can find another day.
Yeah. We can bloviate here, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
What
how's the casino? How's the casino?
I'm driving to work right now. Actually.
Okay. All right.
I'm on hands free. Don't worry. I'm not breaking any laws or anything like that. It's all on hands free and all that.
Great. The sound quality has to be phenomenal for the people listening on YouTube, right?
It does.
It has to be phenomenal.
Sound, camera quality.
Yeah. Oh yeah, your camera sucks.
I know.
This is
my
Windows.
bad?
What's that, Tony?
Is my phone that bad?
I mean, it's not good.
It'll be fine.
It's fine.
Here, let me try. Okay, is that any better?
Yeah,
that's better. Yes,
a little bit
good.
clearer. We got you.
Okay. So what is Coach still with us? I didn't.
No, Coach is gone.
He's gone.
Okay.
He's on the road as well.
That's kind of what I wanted to bring up. Is it's not like, and I brought it up in the Discord, but like being on the road, like that had to play a little bit of a factor into today, right?
What are you talking about?
Like the travel schedule. Like even Kashin even said, I remember at the end of that post game, like that's a short, quick turnaround for as much travel as
when did Purdue when did Purdue play last, Tony?
They had one extra day rest.
Okay, but when and where?
They played at Nebraska.
They played at Nebraska.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're on a road
No,
trip.
Painter pointed that out though. He thought that he said that his team is older and more experienced, and Iowa was coming from the East Coast, back a time zone, and traveling in on one less day of rest. So he pointed that out as an advantage. And that was one of the things he pointed to actually when he was talking about those results with Iowa and Indiana, Purdue, Indiana, and then Iowa, Purdue, is like the timing and when you play teams is almost more important than who's playing, because like, at a certain point, if you give a better team 2 days rest versus a inferior team 5 days rest and maybe 2 or 3 straight wins, you catch them at the right time, you can put up a number on them that you wouldn't normally.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, not only just the East Coast, it was just after finishing the West Coast as well.
Yes.
2 West Coast games, 2 Iowa City for a little bit, then to the East Coast, then back to
They've been
Iowa
around.
City.
They've been around recently.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that is the excuse at all. It's not any excuse.
Yeah,
for performance from some
you are, but
it's
whatever.
a contributing factor. I guess what I want to see is, some of the things that people pointed out was, laziness and, not seeing the effort and stuff like that. And that's what I think factors into that is the travel.
Yeah, I don't think there's any laziness, Tony. I don't believe that. Like Gary said, Gary saw a lot of really good effort tonight. It's just, didn't finish well around the rim.
No,
weren't detailed enough defensively, especially from 3 in the second half.
I said to you too, and I would love to see this. I don't pay for the service, and maybe Tony has every service. Maybe you have it. Tony, are you in shot quality? Are you in their metrics?
No, but I'm in Evan Maya.
Okay. Do they produce a shot quality like a game score?
Yes, they do produce a game score. They actually have multiple different layers to it. They have a game score, and then they also have your metrics while the game is competitive.
Okay.
Like
interesting.
So I mean, I can I'll post that sometime. Like I can get access. I don't know. I don't think it's as quick a turnaround, obviously, as Torvik and Ken Palm, because there's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah.
But he does post a game score, and he posts a what your metrics are while the game is competitive.
And because I said to Corey, even as bad as that first half was, I don't know that, like, if you did a score based purely on expected points from shot quality, I don't know that the score would have been all that different. I think it was a pretty close game. I mean, Iowa had 3 or 4 wide open threes that were not even missed, not even close. I mean, a couple of them didn't even get up on the rim, and then really poor finishing around the basket. I mean, you give them, 2 or 3 more layups and 2 more threes, and that game's basically tied. Like, I mean, it was just terrible shooting.
Tim Lester's already got his jersey in the rafters.
You're ready to be done. You're ready to go back to
I'm sorry. All right, Tony, I'm one of those dogs that sees a squirrel, so we're good.
No, it's all right. Kyle, do you plan on going to any more games?
I think you're on the schedule for covering a game still.
Do I have one more? I don't have any more passes, so they gave me my bundle of passes. So I
thought you were on the schedule for one more.
Maybe one more. If I may still go to one more. I'm not sure. Margot hasn't gone to. I don't think she's been to a game yet, so I'll probably take her at some point.
Well, if you go, let me know, because I will be at the last 3 home games. I have tickets to Ohio State, Nebraska, and Michigan.
Okay.
So I still think we win 3 of those. I really do.
3 of the 3.
3 out of 3.
No, 3 of
3 remaining.
No, 3 of the remaining.
3 of the remaining. Okay, and that gets them to 11-9, right?
Yeah, 11-9. They're in the flying colors.
Yeah.
The problem with 11-9, it may get them a 9 seed, and then they're playing a 1.
It may even get them an 8 seed. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It all depends.
Yeah, I'd rather them go 10.
Or 12-8. Would 12-8 get them off the 8 line? No,
I don't want that either.
No.
Say it again, Tony.
In 8 or 9, it really doesn't matter, because all they're going to do is they'll just, even if we're an 8, we'll just go play Auburn an hour away from their campus.
I know.
Yeah, I was looking
bogus.
Well,
absolutely.
We even
bogus.
saw the projections of Iowa being a 7 going to Tampa and playing Florida in Tampa.
Yeah.
I don't
want any part of that
let's
either.
not do that.
No,
I wouldn't mind going to Florida for the game, but
no, yeah, but they, I mean, and they had chances. I mean, take out Maryland and Minnesota. Had they won those 2 games, I mean, they still would have an opportunity to get up to the 5-6 line, and that would have been. I think if this team was going to make a run, that they would have done that, and that's where they would be right now. But I mean, unless they kind of peter out into the tournament and then find something magical in the tournament, I think that's probably out of reach unless they win all but one of their last few games here. Maybe they go on a hot streak, but I don't know. I don't see that happening. So yeah, they're in a tough spot right now tournament wise. I don't really see a way that unless they get up to the 6 line, it really doesn't matter. I mean, getting to the 7 doesn't really help you. Getting up to the 8 definitely doesn't help you. So
you want to be playing better.
You do. I mean, you want to be playing better, but I don't know.
But Frank got to the 7 a few times.
Yeah,
he got to the 7.
Let's not talk about him. And I'm not saying we don't want to be playing better basketball. I almost don't know if it matters how well they're playing with how good those top 2 seeds are. The top 8 teams in the country are so head and shoulders above in all the metrics, above everybody else. I almost don't know if it matters if they're playing great basketball or not. I don't know that they get by those teams. So,
Tony, appreciate you being here. Safe travels to work, and we'll hopefully talk to you after a win. All right, let's talk to you after a win on Tuesday.
A win and a price, a win and a price shutout.
There you go.
Yes. I'm going to try to get there when the gate's open, because I want to see, I think you guys said the students, a lot of them left early. I'm going to be interested to see that
Yeah,
now.
they deserved to today.
There
There wasn't anything to watch with about 10 minutes left.
So, unfortunately, they were down 27 at one point.
Yeah, they were down 27. So,
all right, Tony. Appreciate you calling in, sir.
Hey, have a good night.
All right, you too.
Yep.
All right, folks. Big Grove's big play of the day. Tavion Banks one-handed dunk with 6:47 left in the second. Unfortunately, they were down 20. They were down 22 when it happened. 20 after the dunk. So that's a Big Grove's big play of the game. But
I think it was Jakari Harris's one-handed poster.
Yeah, the one-handed poster would have been.
That was
if we were giving it to the other team, we would.
That was pretty sick.
But there were a lot of them for Purdue today.
I have respect for that one.
It was Jakari Harris. Was it?
Are
you sure?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay.
24. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize it was him. I didn't know who it was, but
yeah, because he averages 5 points a game.
I know, right? 5, whatever. Was it 5?
5 points a game.
Was it 5? And he had like 12 in the first half.
And he had 12 in the first half.
Yeah, and he finished the game.
What do you have? 14 for
he
the
didn't
game.
do anything in the second half.
14 for the game. Yeah.
Yeah, 14 for the game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. Purdue defeating Iowa 78-57 inside the today unfriendly confines of Carver-Hawkeye Arena. We will be back with you Tuesday following Iowa and Nebraska. For Coach Gary Close, Kyle Spence, I'm Corey Bratta. Thank you to all our sponsors, and we'll talk to you Tuesday.